been such a constant in Republican politics that social conservatives are dismissed, that eyes are rolled at them, that they're called these sorts of things. I mean, this is not shocking. It's not new. It's one of the things that I say in the beginning of the book. I say this shouldn't be shocking to people. And in a lot of ways, you know, did the White House use people of faith for political reasons, right? This shouldn't be all that shocking, right? It's kind of like, but it's what a White House does. A White House does politics. Are you going to sort of? Well,
then I have to ask you. Well, let me quote you something from your book. George W. Bush loves Jesus. He's a good man, but he's a politician, a very smart and shrewd politician. And if the faith-based initiative was teaching me anything, it was about the president's capacity to care about perception more than reality. He wanted it to look good. He cared less about it being good. You make him look like the Pharisees in the New Testament, like the bad guy, the fraud, sitting in the first pew. That's what you make him look like.
George W. Bush is a good man. He's a man of faith. Right?
But you just said he's more interested in perception, which is the way Jesus treated the Pharisees in the New Testament.
George W. Bush is a man of faith. President Bush is a politician. He's the head of the GOP. He's the leader of government. What I'm talking about is the political aspect. And the political aspect is everyone in the White House existed to do one thing, and that is to advance the political power. You know, that's what White Houses do. You know, that's how they operate. That's how they function. That's why they function. And you know, my message here.
You were part of this, though. You were an enthusiastic part of the team, right?
Absolutely, I was part of the team, and that's what I explore in the book. You know, is this tension between God and politics?
Well, let me ask you for a true expose. Look, I know you know a number of senators who are true. Brownback, Santorum, they're true Christians,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
they're as true as anybody in the church, right?
Absolutely.
Well, they're not part of a game, are they?
What do you mean?
I mean, Rick Santorum's not homeschooling his kids for political votes. Is he out there defending the Shivo woman because of political votes, or what's he up to?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, what you see with Rick Santorum is what you get.
How about with the president?
Whether you like it or not. The president is a man of great faith, right?
But is he a political swindler? You present him as a guy, as a politician, who uses religion to get votes. Is that a fair statement? He uses religion to get votes. Is that the case?
The idea of portraying President Bush as sort of a political swindler is wrong.
Does he use faith to get votes?
If your definition of being a political swindler is using faith to get votes, then I think you're probably talking about every person in the United States Senate who's ever run, and probably every politician. You can certainly look back to President Clinton then and say he's a swindler. I mean, this is not a question, right? A politician, a president in office, what does he want to do? Right? He wants to get votes. How is he going to get votes? He's going to get votes by appealing to all sorts of different people, all sorts of different parties. And that's what the president does. That's what a politician does.
How about the issues like stem cell? Do you think he's using them politically?
No, I mean, this idea, I think you're conflagrating a couple of different things here. You know, one is, you know, there's no suggestion that that people are pursuing policies, you know, that don't exist. You know, that they're doing these things for, you know, purely political reasons in and of themselves on every single issue. You know, I mean, that's to create something that's cut and dry. That's just not true.
Right. So what is the difference? You do this by saying that the president as a person is a good man, as a politician he's a politician. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, what's the news in your book?
Well, in some ways that's a question. My book is this question about the struggle between faith and politics. Right? It's a personal struggle. It's a struggle that played out in the White House. You know, George W. Bush has been portrayed to Christians as a pastor-in-chief. You know, that's been the idea. It's been the most carefully managed thing that there has been about his public image, his public perception, as this pastor-in-chief. And it's been done politically so that Christians, frankly, would give him a pass on most things. Yeah, and
I think I get your point. Now, look, let's try to don't accuse me of conflation, because no White House, nobody's ever been better at conflation than this White House. They put 9/11 together with Saddam and biological weapons together with nuclear bombs heading our way. There's a lot of conflation going on. But I noticed in your book you talk about the fact that when we were all together at 9/11, and the country was together after 9/11, especially when the president went to the churches, you said there was a special effort to recruit the political heavy lifters.
Absolutely. I mean, from the start of this presidency, what's been fascinating has been how they have handled the religious conservatives. When you go back to early 1999, what they did was they created sort of an underground network of pastors to go out and recruit other pastors. And the way they were drawn into supporting President Bush wasn't based on policy. It was based on sharing his testimony, obviously a very real testimony. But this underground network of pastors then perpetuated this image of the pastor-in-chief. Now, my main point in pointing this out for Christians is to understand that they have been misled into thinking of him as a pastor-in-chief. He is a president. Look at him that way. But also understand that Christians are being used by this White House to advance their own political ends. And the Christians who are supporting him are well-meaning, wonderful people. My concern is that all of the partisanship, all of the passion, all of this stuff reflects very poorly on the name of Jesus, which I think is something Christians really don't want.
And you said, I think you're saying, if you fool me once, it's my fault. If you fool me twice, it's, I'm sorry, if you fool me once, it's your fault. If you fool me twice, it's my fault. And you're warning us. We'll be right back.